Check test. Check, check. Check, check. All right, it's working. Guess I'm live. So, yeah. There's that. If anyone decides to join me, I'll talk more about what I'm doing. So, you know, there's this famous scene in WandaVision. I'm assuming it's famous. I don't know. I just watched it this morning, and it just captivated me. I've seen this effect before, just a really, really well done version of it. And I want to show everybody how it's done. I want to do this effect. So I thought I was going to make a similar shot or maybe do a parody shot of it. But then I thought it would be a lot more fun to colorize it and then uncolorize it again because that's something I can do in Vegas. So right now... it's an inverse mask. Right now, I'm experimenting. This isn't quite a tutorial. I'm just doing my mad scientist stuff of just like trying things, and then eventually I'll have some teachable points out of this. This could be anywhere in my head. It's anywhere from 1 to 7 tutorials, probably 2. But yeah, right now I'm just experimenting with different things, trying to perfect the colorization some. And looking forward to my method here. I'm ready to talk to chat if anybody has anything to chat about. And now with that out of the way, let's get started. Let me save it first because I have a feeling now that I'm live streaming and I've also got Vegas Image open and everything else, my chances of crashing are higher than normal. I don't usually crash during a project. I know some people, the way they talk about these softwares, like editing software and stuff, they talk about crashing every 5 seconds. Usually that's a setting problem if you're crashing every 5 seconds. Like most of the time, some settings problem or the codec you're using is garbage. Sometimes that can be the problem. Like OBS, for a while until there's an OBS update that really fixed their codec, but there was a while where their codec was it was bad and using it wasn't very good. And it caused a lot of crashes when I used OBS's codec. I don't have many crashes anymore. Some, but every software crashes some. Most of the time I don't really crash on a daily basis. But if I do, usually I'm live streaming or something like that. Yeah, go ahead and say hi or anything if you want. I'm here to answer questions and chit-chat while I do it. I'm thinking through, though, what I'm doing. So if your question is, hey, what are you doing? Then my answer is probably, I don't know yet. I'm trying to find out. There's a method to my madness, but I'm discovering that method right now. You can see I have a Bezier mask showing the actual color helicopter from the original black and white shot, and then it gets complicated because on the next layer I've got... Hang on, I'm trying to keep it all on one screen for y'all. On the next layer I've got... let's see, so let's solo that. Yeah, on the next layer, so this is where I've got my mask. Oh, I've got my mask on both places. So let's get rid of the color secondary corrector there. Okay, so what I want to do is, that's right, I need to make this a compositing child, and then I need to turn that mask on, and this is a proof of concept. It's not a perfect setup here. Then I'm going to use the composite mode cut. Hey! It worked. That's always nice when something works. Oh, I'm really happy with that, actually. Let's watch it back. Ooh, don't want to get demonetized or something. Let me mute that music here. So you're just joining me. I'm recolorizing WandaVision. And to do so, I'm using Vegas' Colorization Effect, which has done a great job on its own. All I've done is run that Colorization Effect on it at a medium setting, and I'm cleaning it up now. But you can see you go from, this is the original, like, what the original looks like, right? Very black and white except for that helicopter. Vegas Effect, I had to black and white it all the way, get rid of the color on the helicopter, and then colorize it. And it did a great job of going from 0 color to color, right? That looks like brick and grass and flowers. So a really, really good job. But there's some things, there's some blooming, color blooming, like some maroon up there it's not supposed to be. The tree here at the end is a little too maroon behind her, and things like that. And you can see when it colorized the helicopter, it didn't bring back that beautiful bright red. And so what I'm doing now is I'm cutting through. I'm making a mask for the helicopter so I can cut through and bring back that bright red of the helicopter first, and so that then I might render it out again to ProRes, clean it up my project, and start once I have all the colors with the bright red back in. So that's my goal. I want to make this. See, this shot's gonna need some cleaning. Oh, something's not lined up. That's not good. What did I do wrong? It's always a fun project. You know it's a good project when you're just, oh, hey, people are talking. Hello. I guess you hear me talking. I don't have to type, but I typed. I'm glad some people could join me. I've tried this in the past. This obviously, I've done patron live streams, obviously, for patrons, but this is the first time I've tried just a generic live stream. This isn't a lesson. Just a reminder. It's just me trying some new things. That's still not frame perfect. There we go. That should be frame perfect. So what did I do wrong here? There we go. Okay. That's what I had done. Now that's saved. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Not every day's a good day for a live stream around here, but today was a good day for one, and I'm trying something new, and I was like, man, it'd just be fun to hang out with people while I was doing it. Yeah, totally ask any questions if you have them. So I've cut this color back into the bushes there, so that one's done. So I guess I start over here. This one though, the colorizing from Vegas Effect really struggled here with struggled to understand what was a helicopter. It's an AI, right? So it has to guess. It's like these are leaves and those are flowers, and it's like, but where does the leaves and the flower and the helicopter start and end? It really struggled. So this will clean up the shot a lot when I get the red helicopter back in it. So I need to, let's copy the shot here. And then we need to go to Bezier Mask. It's a simple idea to do this kind of stuff, but it's just really tricky to think through. It's just a lot of weird little steps. So Bezier Masking, and I'm in the Transitions tab. That's why I can't find Bezier Masking. Okay, Bezier Masking. Let's just go ahead and drop a circle mask on there. So when you do the first Bezier mask for something like this, usually, so I'm gonna have a tutorial, a formal one, about how to color, like do the helicopter effect. So that's what I want to do, right? This helicopter effect here, I want to do a tutorial about how that happened, and I thought it would be a lot of fun to actually put the color back in WandaVision, so then I could take the color back out again. So let's see. Need that mask a little bigger. You try to just get what you want, so what this does, you don't necessarily have to do this first Bezier mask like I'm doing, but what this does is I know I'm not going to need to do like, let's see. Let me get the very last part of this too. I'll move that mask around a little bit. Well, okay, let's just make it a little bigger. So I know I'm not going to be needing to do the edge of the screen. The mask isn't as important in this version exactly as it usually is. But like with the bushes that you just saw, what the mask is doing is it's cutting out the amount I have to worry about. So I'm pretty much just giving myself a focus area. Like, hey, this area is where I'm worried about retrieving the helicopter. Ooh, but the mask is wrong. Is that what I... Yes. That's what I need to do. Okay. See, a lot of little steps. So I'm only worried about this helicopter here. So I've cut out the rest of it. Now I've got the red helicopter. There we go. Okay. Next step. Oh, I've heard about Deoldify. Never tried it. I like this tool. So what I'm trying to do is with Vegas, since I teach it and stuff so much, and I use it so much, one of the things I like to do is really kind of, sometimes I find people don't think something's as good as something else because they just don't know how to use it, and sometimes another tool is better. But when I spend my time trying to figure out how this tool works, it helps the software develop. So as people use it, Vegas will learn more about what worked and what didn't, and they'll have a better iteration later on. So yeah, I'm more doing this for like just the sake of doing it in Vegas less. So I don't usually, especially because I'm so spearheaded on Vegas softwares in this channel, I don't usually mix and match softwares often. I do use other softwares, obviously. Like I use the Unreal Engine for video games and stuff, and I'll be using that eventually for some special effects. But it's this, with the channel focus being on Vegas stuff, it's usually easy to keep it all in the same ecosystem, because I don't want to have like every tutorial start with, hey, install these 9 free programs. Like I usually just try to do something where yeah, I'm talking with my hands like you guys can see me. I usually just try to do something simple. Oh yeah, people see Vegas is good because they don't know how to use it. I think that's the case sometimes. Now, obviously, every software has limitations, and every software, has places where it's strong. I think Vegas' strength lies in the fact that it's so easy to use, just to get up and running on stuff. Its weakness, I think, is some of the more complicated stuff isn't straight. Like some of the more complicated stuff isn't just immediately like obvious, especially because some of the older effects and things that they haven't had time to re-up, because they're not the same size development team that Adobe is and things like that. But I think it's amazing once you get into it and start seeing kind of the workflow and stuff. You just can't beat it. Anyway, second color corrector. I'm better at talking than I am at editing. Okay, so we got secondary color corrector. We're going to select the effect range. I might have to do this twice with the golden wheels, but the good news is, so because it's all black and white, I can actually be really loosey-goosey. Usually this won't be the case. With the later tutorial, I see it says show mask here. Wait a second. I'm on this top clip. So... yeah, I hear what you're saying, Anthony, on the earlier way. It took me a while, too, when they changed some of their layout stuff. I was like, wait, I'm used to sliders and things. So, what can you do? Let's see. So, I've done something wrong, because I can't see the mask. And it's probably the Bezier mask I screwed up. Wait, so that cuts... That means I'm cutting... Let me solo this. So the problem is, here's why I can't think through it. This and this and this are all slightly different versions of the same thing. So let me. Okay. So if I solo this track, that's what I've done, is cut out the middle. That's not what I want to do. I want to cut out everything but the middle. And then, so the secondary color corrector, when I hit show mask, what if I put it before, oh, yeah, I think it needs to be before the Bezier mask. So it's funny enough, I did it pretty much without issue before everybody showed up. Let's see, let me see what I did over here. So over here, it's right. And I have Bezier Mask, and then color corrector secondary. So then over here, how did that work? Huh. Let's see. Did I do mask effect only? Is that what I did? But no, because it's after it. All I did was, so if I solo this one, yeah, that's what I want. So why did it? Oh, okay, I'm an idiot. I grabbed. See, it's not as I'm not as suave as I am. So what? Why is it? I mask it twice. Because the bottom one's the one it needs to show up on. Okay. So I had it all planned out, and then now that I'm second guessing myself. Yeah. And thank you, David Cooper. And yeah, I hear you, Anthony. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do with the layout going forward, because I think there's a temptation too to try and make it more like Adobe. I think I overcomplicated this, and that's the problem. So the secondary color corrector is needed. What happens if I get rid of the Bezier mask? Then that... Oh, it's because I already have the cut effect applied. Oh, that's why it's so complicated. Okay, so when I say show mask, okay, so I definitely need this soloed here. Then I'm going to get rid of this Bezier mask because I'm already cutting. Okay, so yes, what you can't see is I already have this composite mode set to cut. And in my head, it wasn't. So it was supposed to be doing something different. Oh my gosh, it's so much easier. I'm just going to go straight to the color corrector. So this is secondary color corrector. It's great for lots of things. Very little of it is actually color correcting. Okay, so I can't see anything because I'm cutting everything. That's right. I can't see anything because I'm cutting everything. So that's not good. Let me turn this off. Second. So compositing mode, source alpha. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so now I can see what I'm doing for a second. Okay, that's the problem. Is I've done this before. Well, because I'm doing it more than once over and over again. I was looking at a final finishing of it. Okay, let's see. So now secondary color corrector. Now I can do what I want to do. Grab this effect range. We're going to grab just kind of a red here. Show mask. don't have very much in the mask. That's okay. I'm going to disable the luminance. So yeah, none of that should matter then. And we're going to disable the saturation. There we go. Okay, so we might need to enable the saturation a little bit. So what I want is just get the red from the helicopter, nothing else. Because I'm going to use that to punch a hole through the other one. Well, I'm going to invert the mask to use it to punch a hole through this one to where the red is showing through on top and nothing else. So that's what this is, just a fancy hole punch. So the A7 IIIs, I'm guessing so. That's a Sony camera, right? It should jump right in because usually Sony uses the what is it? What does Sony use? Here we go. I'm not rendering anything, don't worry. Sony XAVC, that's what it's called. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. So XAVC, and because this used to belong to Sony too, there's a lot of XAVC support in Vegas kind of built in. However, I don't work for Vegas exactly. I don't work for them at all, really. I just kind of do my own thing, and they share some information with me sometimes. And they give me the software so I can keep doing my own thing. But other than that, don't really know much about what's going on. So I don't know if there's like a new codec coming out with that camera. I have seen what those cameras do though, and I am very impressed, extremely happy with those kinds of cameras. I'm a Sony camera user myself. I love Sony cameras. Bit of a fanboy. Okay, good question. Can you do this in Movie Studio? Not... Kinda. So let's see. Let's open up Movie Studio real quick and look. So the thing, I jump in. I actually do edit things in Movie Studio. If you're wondering if I like just do it for tutorials or I edit things in Movie Studio, I used to be a primary Movie Studio user several years ago, and I'd use Vegas Pro for different things, but mostly was in Movie Studio, which is why I have a big respect for this software. It does a lot. Movie Studio Platinum does. Color Corrector Secondary does have that, and that's what I was thinking. I was thinking it did have it. So it does have most of it if you have Movie Studio Platinum. The problem is you'll have to do the masking differently, and I couldn't tell you right now if the masking would work the exact same way, because you would have to. You could probably invert it and with multiply mask, black mask out, or is it that? Okay, there's probably a way. The short answer, I'd have to think it through. You'd have to get really creative. But because you have the secondary color corrector and you can make a mask, if you can make something black and white, you can usually do something with it. That's kind of my rule of thumb, is if you can isolate something, then you can usually act on it. With Movie Studio, multiply mask they left that in because it's kind of a way to get around issues. So like there's no cut effect here, but you could probably do a multiply mask and with the right black and whites in the right places, you could probably do a cut effect too, in a way. Oh, the HEV 422 10-bit in Vegas. I feel like I read they just added that support in the latest update, but someone will have to verify that for me. I don't actually remember if they did that or not. So let's open this back up here. So what we're trying to do is grab as much of this helicopter as possible. And I'm not too concerned if it's perfect, because if it's near perfect, we're good enough. I like sliders. They help you visualize what you're doing right and wrong. So let's go with the smooth. Let's see what happens there. Okay, smooth helps it some. Let's look at the hue. So here's what's cool. We can open up the hue. This is a weird scenario because very rarely do you conveniently have the rest of the footage you don't want to mask black and white. You can see it did a lot right there. I can pretty much just say, does it have a color? And then that's not exactly what happens, but yeah, okay. Well, it's getting close though. I don't know why I did that. Maybe if I did aha. Okay, so I just need to cut the white out. Cut the black out. Oh, so close, so close. Okay, so let me hold control so I can have a little more control. Get it? Control for control. I'm sorry. If you don't like puns, you're in the wrong place. I can't. It's like I did it just about how I want it, and then I don't. Like, because it keeps grabbing large little pixel chunks that I don't want it to. Okay, let's undergrab it just a little bit. Or here. So that little speck on the hand's still there. Didn't quite get the tip of the wing. Didn't quite get that. Ah! See how easily this is... Okay. There's a fine line and I'm just keep dancing around it. Alright, so yeah, I'm just going to have to let that fine line exist. I'll come back. What? It's just so close, though. Okay, let's see. That's a dirty mask. Okay, let's try the scroll wheel on my mouse. That's better. It's still not perfect. Let's try it. Okay, so I have mostly of a mask here, and so what I gotta do is, now that I have a mask, what I need to do is turn the mask into a hole punch so that I can invert the mask. And see, now it's a hole punch. And then I can use this composite mode setting and go to cut, and then all the white will cut instead. So now my colorized version has a helicopter, and it doesn't quite work because the mask isn't perfect. It's so close, though. There's no spoilers for WandaVision. I've only seen like 2 episodes. I just watched a little bit of it, and I was like, oh, we're going to do that effect. If you're just catching up, what I think I'm going to do is what I want to do is do an effect on how to achieve what they did. How I want to achieve this right here. But I thought it would be a lot of fun if I first colorized it, and maybe get another tutorial more about colorizing and stuff. If I first colorized it so I could do the effect again. But it won't work unless the helicopter is beautiful and red. And so I'm punching back in this beautiful red helicopter because if I just solo this footage right here, wait, oh, because I have 2 things on solo. Yeah, so I'm punching back in the red helicopter to get the right reds on that, and I'm gonna do a few other tricks too for colorization to get it to work. Ooh, something went wrong. That's yucky. Okay. Doesn't look like that in the colorized version. Sorry, it might be super loud. Let me mute it. Improvements that I personally noticed, I think that this latest update, the way ProRes works is just so much better than the Magic Intermediate codec. So I used the Magic Intermediate codec when my back was against the wall when I needed to render something out, but the playback of it wasn't very smooth. Otherwise, though, like this is, I got a bunch of mixtures. I have the rip I did from Disney Plus because, Disney doesn't want to talk to me, so there's no way I could actually get real footage of this. That's in just an MP4. But I don't want it to lose quality in the middle of this, so I've actually just been rendering out the different versions. For example, let's do it. Here is the color-corrected version. Not color-corrected, the color-added version. But before that, I needed to get the black and white full version because it was actually screwing it up that it's had a little bit of color in the black and white. So you can see it's got a lot of cleaning up to do. But so I colorized it, and then so I had to get it black and white first. So because I have to render it out so much, I don't want it to just start looking like garbage, because that's what happened to the Luke footage that I did. It started looking like garbage really fast because I skipped the Magic Intermediate codec. I didn't render things out when I could have. I don't know. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head now, but there's a few things I did wrong with that. If I was going to redo it, I'd do it differently. But this, I'm able to keep it nice and pristine through all these different steps because I'm using an intermediate codec. So that's super nice. So now that I'm doing this next step too, and kind of punching all these things together, let me get solo off there. Oh, yes. So there's something wrong with that mask. That's where we are. So when I go to this mask here, it's all pixelated and stuff. The Bezier mask was helping. So when I Bezier masked that, essentially, is that pixel perfect lined up? Okay. So it helped my not perfect mask not show up as much, and the bushes really hit it. So let's that is a conundrum. Well, I'll leave that mask on for now. All right, so let's go back over here. Okay, so the helicopter punches through pretty good. That way I'm just bringing in my crappy colors. Okay, but if we could just do it a little bit better. So let's change. Okay, let's take the cut effect off, because when I can't see the mask, it's just impossible. For what I'm doing right now, if you're asking, can we do with Vegas 17, can you do what I'm doing right now? The answer is no. So can you do this with Vegas 17? Yes. you should be able to do this. Some of the steps are going to be different, especially if I decide to use motion tracking or not. I'm still making this right now. So when I have this tutorial done, in theory, as much as I have control of the future, which is none, in theory, yes, the Vegas Pro 17 user should be able to do colorization to this effect right here, where there's a single like object in color and nothing else is. However, it won't, to do what I'm doing, which is recolorizing something in a very, very weird way. No, you will not be able to do that with Vegas Pro 17 because it's highly dependent on the colorization effect. But you do have a secondary color corrector. Man, I wasn't even sure if anybody was going to join me. I'm so glad you guys joined, and I can talk to you. I've never really done any. I tried live stuff back when I had like 500 subscribers, and I would have someone pop on every now and then. But you know, just catching everybody in a time of the day where they're able to like turn on their computer is one set of challenges. All right, so did I turn that off? No, I started talking. Okay, so composite mode. We're going back to source alpha. Okay, so let's clean this up. So yeah, so the good news is it solves a lot of problems for you, right? Like you don't have to, a lot of people, the first thing they do is go, guess I'm gonna have to mask this manually, and then just click, 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 and then like 19 hours later, they're done. And we don't have to do that. I'm hoping I don't have to do much manual masking at all. Because to me, if you're gonna manually mask it, you're not really, I don't know, like you're losing some of the magic, right? Like you're losing some of the cool thing that makes it actually helpful, because essentially anything can be done. If you draw it pixel by pixel, you can do anything. Look at Toy Story. It's drawn pixel by pixel. It's a beautiful, Toy Story 3 is a beautiful movie. But if you can do something with real video, something already made, to me, that's what I like to dive into, to try to really see if I can spearhead and not have to pixel for pixel cut things and redraw things. Okay, so this is what I needed to be earlier. I needed to be doing this way. See my final product here. So here's the problem. I'm doing too much. I didn't mean to grab that. I am trying to bring this whole plane in together, when the reality is normally I would never do that. So let me bring in the gray separately, because here's the problem. We're doing a black and white thing, and this gray is actually gray. It's supposed to be gray. It's not just a gradient gray, and that's where our issue comes in. So let me just cut that gray out. You know what? That might just solve itself as a problem. Let's see how this looks. Okay, I'm really excited. I think it's going to work. Let me move this back, composite mode, cut. It kind of works, because okay, so the problem is here. The colorize is the fact that I have the pre-colorized. It's getting some of the colorizing that I don't want, that I'm trying to block out, the bad colorizing of the plane. Just pulling some of that back in. However, I don't know. I think that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? Has anyone else had a chance to use the colorizing feature? Has anyone tried it? I think it's really, really cool. And thank you, Nimish, I think is how you say it. Thank you for that compliment. I appreciate it. So I appreciate all you guys watching and stuff. honestly, when I first started making tutorials, they were not any good. Even though I did know more about the software than an average person, two things that really helped me a ton. When I started just spending so much time diving in and trying to answer people's questions, I started actually becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. I still have a crap ton more to learn too, but I started actually knowing more than the average person because I just practiced in it more than the average person and tried to answer the weird questions all the time. And that really changed how much I knew about it. And then two, I was really bad at making tutorials. Like you guys can't even see the first tutorials I had. I'm very verbose and stuff, so I had like a natural ability to just explain stuff and talk. And I had kind of because of my education in video, I kind of knew some of the right questions to tackle in a tutorial. But some of my early ones on the channel still suffer from this. People just like rag on me constantly because they're like, you just talk so much and you don't say anything of value. And I went back and I was like, no, they just don't understand how important it was what I was talking about. And I went back and watched them, and I was like, ooh, they're right. I just repeat myself 1900 times. There's a lot of stuff that could be edited out. Just because I explain that doesn't mean it's important at the moment. And that means people are losing focus on what's going on. A lot of complicated stuff like that. So I don't know. I really appreciate everybody watching. I wouldn't be able to practice doing tutorials so much if people weren't watching them. And so it's kind of a feedback loop where I get better at it because you guys are giving me really good feedback and you guys are giving me really good questions, and I'm able to just spend more time practicing at it. And so that's just a big, long way to say thank you. That's good enough for now. We're going to move on to the next shot. So I want to fix all this colorization stuff, but the helicopter's got to be fixed first. Okay, so next I need, am I soloed? Why can't I, oh yeah. Okay, wait, and that's not pixel perfect either. Okay. So I need to get that pixel perfect. When I say pixel perfect, you see how she's kind of like growing right there? It's because there's not a codec issue or anything. It's because I don't have it lined up frame for frame. So the camera's like more zoomed in on that shot than it should be. So I just need to get the frame per frame matching. And when her hair lines up, I think I'll have it. Nope, still not right. There we go. That's frame for frame. Somehow I moved it. And then when I get this snap there, it was just one frame off. Funny how that works. I had moved it. I cut it into pieces so that way I could just focus on one problem at a time, right? Like this is a different shot than this, so I wanted to be able to just focus on one problem. So now I'm going to hold Control, duplicate that, but I also want to get rid of that extra audio there. I mean, really none of this audio matters, so it's gone. Now it's out of the way. Okay. So now we're back at the cut effect. So I'm cutting out everything, which is why you see the colorizing. That's the confusing part about stuff, is when you're like already really, really deep into what you're doing and you forget that I'm like starting the same effect over 3 times. So I have to keep toggling this on and off so I can see what I'm doing. Does this make sense to everybody? Is this confusing? Or is this neat? I don't know. To me, this is super neat. I saw this today and I was like, I know what I'm going to do today. You ever just have that feeling where you just kind of know exactly what you need to do next? I don't know. It's just like, I just really felt like I should be doing that. Okay, source alpha. And we're going to do it again. So this time I am going to do the Bezier masking because that was super helpful with the bushes, and it just limits the amount of area you have to worry about. So let's do the rectangle, or the rectangle. All right. Okay, and so let's go to this cool part about this too is I don't have to be perfect. Here we just go to the mask, go to location, and then start it low. Uh-oh, big change there. So here's where we're gonna make sure it moves. As long as it never dang it. As long as it never leaves the box, we're good. This isn't precision work. This is actually, so I'd go through great lengths to not have to do precision work. That's what this entire thing is that I'm doing right now, is me trying really hard to not have to just manually mask this thing out. I don't care. So when I'm making it longer, I'm not tracking that I'm making it longer. I don't care that it's been longer the whole time. I just want it to not leave the box. Okay, the camera trucks in there. I have so much to say about the camera work too. Oh yeah, so I'm glad you're able to follow what I'm doing. But yeah, this is when I do the tutorial. This is super weird because I'm like doing it backwards, so it's extra hard to think about. But when I make the tutorial, it'll be boiled down to just talking about things that matter. I won't be making constant stupid mistakes or randomly changing the subject all the time. It'll be a lot easier to follow along when it becomes a tutorial, a real one. Okay, and then, yep, I cut before she drops. Okay, so that should work. Let me just make sure it matches. Small bit of lag here, because I've got three 1080p renders going on top of each other with a Bezier masking effect that's moving around. So just like barely perceivable, but a little bit of lag. Probably run at 20 frames a second. But it matches. If I have the effect up, let me see. That's what I was looking for. Does it? Nope, I did it wrong. Well, that's right. No, I did it right. I just didn't have. I'm not actually masking anything. So if you're wondering why it's not masking anything, if I solo it, it's in a parent-child track. So that's a complication. Even though it's still source alpha, it's still in a parent-child track. So and then it gets complicated. It gets hard to see what you're doing when you start doing stuff like this. That's probably the hardest thing I think about all effects like this, is when you have a weird target for what you're doing. Okay, so now back to the secondary color corrector. Again, I wish this had a different name, because it really is so much more than just a secondary color corrector. Because that's what it is. You use it to tweak colors. Like, you can make it smush your reds with it. So all your reds kind of have a more unified red. Movies do this kind of color correction all the time. It's called color grading. It's really more of a color grading effect. People can confuse color correction with color grading. Color correction is just making sure your white balance looks right and your colors look the same as the camera's supposed to look. But color... Okay, let's do the invert. Let's just go straight to the invert here. And let's undo the limit luminance. Let's undo the limit saturation. And let's undo the limit hue, because we're trying to get all the colors, all the hues. Or is it the limit hue? Okay, no, limit hue's got to be on. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I do need limit saturation on. See, I won't confuse everybody in the real tutorial. This is just hangout time. Okay. Again, the grays are what give me the biggest problem. And maybe... So when it's easy to forget. Oh no, I moved it. It's easy to forget your. There's ways to do that. You can actually lock events. I can't tell you how to do that off the top of my head. How do you do that? Group, take switches, lock. I can lock this to where it can't move or change, and that's good because it lets me mess with this and keep clicking around it without scooting it. So I'm going to leave that locked for now. I don't usually use that. I should start using it more because the more things you toggle, the more things you have to remember that you toggled. So it's got its own problem there. We're looking to get white throughout the entire box except for the helicopter. Maybe if I try the limit luminance a little bit. 2. So what I did is I turned the limits off just to kind of let it grab the whole color spectrum a little better, but putting the limits back on might help me isolate it more. Yeah, the limit luminance doesn't help at all. Yeah, you definitely the edited tutorial. You'll find out there's a lot of times I use it's 5 takes and it's not usually it's about 2 or 3. And then sometimes I'll be like in the middle of it, I'm just like, this is just not going well, and I'll re-record it, and then I edit down useless stuff, times it takes to wait on things. If I find out I'm repeating myself, which I do a lot. You guys might not like me anymore after watching me live too long. Is there a keyboard command for moving the sliders instead of using the mouse? Ooh, and nice to be able to lock a track. I think you can lock a track. Switches. Solo, mute. Oh, I guess you can't. Huh? Maybe we could put that in as a feature request. So, Joe, I do want to say I have many times said you can't do something, and I've been wrong. Somebody comes behind me and they're like, "No, you just do it like this," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I'm not the definitive word on that. And back to the question: is there a keyboard command for moving the sliders instead of using the mouse? Kinda. You can roll your mouse wheel for a lot of the sliders. So and that's a little easier. And you can also type it in too in the box. And I think you can use the arrow keys. Let's try it. Ah, man. Okay. I can't open this back up because I locked the track. See, switches. Let's unlock it. Maybe I'll just try to be careful instead of locking it again. So, yeah, you can use arrow keys too. So yeah, to get that fine tuning, you can use arrow keys. You can hold control while you do it to get better control. You can use the mouse wheel, and you can type in a value. So you got pretty granular control when it comes to those. That's a very good question. Thank you. Yeah, I kind of thought there'd be like a hidden button. Actually, okay, 1 second. Is there not a hidden button? Okay. A visible button set. Track effect, controls, min max, composite mode. Yeah, there's not one that has a lock on it. I felt like there was, or maybe back in the day, like we were talking about back in the olden days of Vegas. I feel like there was a lock button. It used to be they had all their buttons up here, and it was confusing to have a bunch of buttons up. But I do miss being able to just see my options. But also, it's a lot easier to just look and see only a few things at a time. So I get both mentalities behind it. All right, let's get back to fixing this mask. So I think we're just gonna have to go with reds only. For this one. So I'm going to remove it and start again. Select effect range. We're going to grab this. I'm going to show mask. Let's just try to get the reds right now. And then I might come back and get the yellows and the grays separately. Limit luminance. No, we do not want to limit the luminance because there's some very shiny reds and there's some not shiny reds, and we want to get them all. Limit saturation. No, we don't want to limit the saturation. Limit the hue. So see these boxy stuff, the boxes? That is from me grabbing this off of the internet. I wouldn't be having these boxy issues if I actually had the source file. Like if I had the raw camera footage of this, one, it would already be in color. But two, because I read about this, I think they did film it all in color and do all the post processing afterwards, which is how I would do it. Too, because you don't want to throw away information until later. If you start with it in black and white, if you want to tweak anything, because it's not truly black and white, like it's like almost black and white, because old timey footage actually has like little color tints to it and stuff, and so you could ruin the color tint if you just went and made it all black and white again. I'm thinking about doing a video. I don't know if you guys would be interested or not. I'm thinking about doing a video talking about some of the production choices on like why they did things a certain way instead of just doing it in the edit. Like talking about like what you can't do in the edit. I haven't figured out how that video would work yet. That's just a random idea in my head. I don't know. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. It just depends on how interesting I think I can make it. Okay, so I want to hit Control Z there. I'm happy with where that was centered, and I don't want to mess with the centering. But I do want to mess with the width of it. Okay, so no, I don't want it smoothed. Okay, let's try saturation limiting. Any more questions or anything? I would really like Magix to include a 3D camera tracker into Vegas effects. That's a good idea. So I know you can do tracking, but a 3D camera tracker, I think what you're saying is like the ability to like track where the camera would be in 3D space. I want to look into that more. I'm not gonna say you can or can't do that yet. That's actually stuff I'll be touching on later. I'm working with point lighting right now in Vegas Effects when I'm practicing. Okay. This one's not doing it for me. Again, mostly because I've just got this crap internet codec. I'm blaming it on that. But that's a start. Let's open the width. Okay, that's better. Oh, well, you know what? Actually, that fixed it a lot. I'm getting the yellows too. Okay. So I'm having it limited on hue, but with the width being so wide, I'm getting all the colors in. So the center doesn't matter because my width is so wide. Okay. Here's what I can do. Maybe I can grab, put this one first. And then grab this. Okay, I'm just trying to get to grays right now, and I'm going to bump the saturation up. So when I grab the color width, I have a little bit more color to grab instead of the black and white that I'm fighting. See, because I'm kind of grabbing some of her shirt sleeve too, accidentally. Hmm. Hmm. Maybe if I do both together. Oh, I'm fighting each other with it. Okay. Let me remove that for now, because now I don't know what I've done on that one. I'm sorry, that probably was a lot of wasted work, but... Okay, let's go back to the original plan. So we grab that. Get the bottom of the helicopter again. Oof, that codec mask, it's bothering me. Smooth it out maybe a little bit. Okay. Yeah. That'll... Well... Yeah, that should work. That should work, because if I do that, even still, then I can take the mask off and I can boost the saturation. There we go. Yes. Okay, so then I grab the secondary color corrector again. And see, it's only this top one I'm messing up, not the actual color of it. So grab secondary color corrector again, select effect range, and then go to mask. Then should be easier to grab everything now. Yeah, and I think with the Vegas effects stuff, a lot of that's still up and coming. Now that Hit Film and Magix and Vegas have put their resources together on that one, I think we're going to see that bloom over time. The cool part about it, though, is that you can subscribe to Vegas Post and get an image editor, which is, Photoshop's been around longer. It's got more features, but it's really robust, and it's got a good engine, a codec engine inside of it, which is really important. And it does do a lot of things really well. So you get a good image editor, a really good compositor. It's not quite After Effects, because After Effects has been around a long time, but it's still really good. And you get what I think is the world's best video editor, and you get all of that for the same price as Photoshop is alone. If you did it in a subscription. So to me, that's just like a no-brainer. Like, you can get like 90% of the other software's package for just a crazy small fraction of the price. Just and they're just getting better and better. Like adding in the ProRes, like that was, to me, that was one of the biggest things. Where when they made that change, that was huge. This one's just not doing it. This is the most important one to do it too. What I could do, okay, I don't want to ruin my good work with that just in case I decide to do it that way later. So I copied it. Let's try mask generator again. I got something in my mouth. I'm sorry. And let's try. Ooh, whoopsie, wrong thing. Illuminance mask. Oh, wait. But first, I gotta copy that one again. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna solo. Okay, I'm gonna bring this down here so I can see what I'm doing. That's the problem. I got so many things on it. It's so hard. I have to think, okay, that's doing that, but the other thing's counteracting it, and you're actually seeing through the other one instead of that. And so I just want to see what I'm doing for a second. I'm seeing if there's anything, any light value about the helicopter that might be different that I can exploit. Anything that makes the helicopter punch out more than the rest of it. Vegas Stream. So Vegas Stream is new, and I'm still learning about it. So that's the short answer on that. I really hope it as they work on it and as I start getting used to it and stuff that it will be the new norm for streaming. I always have high hopes for the stuff they're working on. And one of the reasons is because streaming stuff, something super helpful, because a lot of that stuff's re-edited later on and things. Having a good codec engine is important. When I say that, I mean something that actually makes the math, like actually can rebuild and compress and uncompress images in a way that's actually accurate and helpful and doesn't break when it's played back by other things. And OBS, being free, it took it a while to get its codec in a spot where it actually played well as an MP4. It just didn't make good MP4s. And people all the time are like, how come my software doesn't work? A lot of people are recording games and things. And so I think it'll be great having something that's got its base software, its base abilities inside of its base abilities coming from some of the kernel of it coming from Vegas softwares and things. I think that's a really good step for a streaming software. So we'll see. I hope it because that would be a big step, having something that has strong. I don't know, guys. This one's just not turning. Does anyone have any ideas? There's a lot of good. there's a lot of good mask coming in for it, especially against her black shirt there, but not for the blades. Okay, so let's just roughly. That should line up pixel perfect now. So yeah, the mask doesn't move at all. We're so close. Gosh. Let's do it. Okay. No. Surely I can. Okay, I almost started masking everything out. But surely I can get this to work, right? Surely. Because it's in color, nothing else is. I'm just not doing something right yet. Let us do maybe that brings in the red of her skin tone. No, I'm thinking about it in the wrong way again because it's up here. Okay, see how confusing this can get? I forgot I had that down, so this is like, this is the layer I'm working on. This is nothing but like a reference layer that will be cut. Like this is me. Let's explain this, I guess. This layer is me preserving that beautiful red color. It's me preserving that. So I want that to still exist. So it exists on this layer. So that beautiful red color never goes away. It's always on that layer. And so what I want to do is make this layer create a hole punch that I can use to punch out around that helicopter on this layer, so that way the only thing you see is the helicopter from this layer and the actual colorized finished version, which will need more work after that. But I will render that out again, and then we'll have that beautiful red helicopter, and I'll be able to start doing some more work. Oh, I had that muted. Oh, that's the music. Wait, something's wrong again. I touched it all too much. Composite mode, cut. Oh, because I have the Bezier Mask off right there. See, a lot of details. All right, so now we can actually go straight to the punch here. If we're looking at it with everything on. So, okay, so first I'll need to copy this Bezier mask here, and then I'll need to paste it. Paste event attributes there, except we need to get rid of the secondary color corrector and the mask generator. There we go. So now let's try it from this approach, looking at the final product instead of. instead of the mask. So the problem is I'm not seeing that beautiful red. Seeing the muted red from the colorizer. Something I did worked. I don't want to touch it for a second. I just want to look at how pretty it looks. So this is part of the challenge of making a tutorial, is when I find out if something works, I have to then discover why. I can't just go, well, that worked, and move on. I have to figure out why. It's good for me. It makes me learn more. So when I limited the saturation, helped a lot. So what's going on here, I guarantee when I turn off the cut, this is not going to be a good full mask. Let's watch it back first. A lot of effects going on here. So it's pretty choppy. Oh, why am I not using the colorization feature in Vegas Pro? I am. So it's actually in black and white. Here's the original. People might be getting tired of me saying this now, but what I'm doing is, look, see, so this is the black and white version here that I ripped off Disney Plus. That's the black and white version with the color, and then I made it black and white. So now the plane's black and white and stuff too, and then I colorized it. So then I could drop in this. Oh, let's get that back on. Then I colorized it. So now you can see everything's in color, but it's not perfect. And the biggest problem is that is a muted, dull red. And so for this effect, one of the things that made it so good, so pretty, because I want to make a tutorial about how to do this with the actual footage of it, actually cut the color back out. So I'm doing it in reverse is what I'm doing, so I can do it again later. But I want that to keep that pretty stark looking red instead of it being this muted old toy looking red. So to do that, I'm cutting it out. And also I got to fix some of the colorization problems that came with it too. So that's why I am using the colorization effect actually. And that's why I'm doing this. So I don't know about you guys, but I think that looks good enough for government work right here. I think we're seeing through to the plane, to the helicopter good enough. Just like that other shot. I think that's where we're going to have to land on that one, because it's starting to get really, really layered, and it's time to move on to the next step, which is fixing the colorization of it. Yeah. Hey, thank you guys. Thank you. So I'm really happy the red came back in the helicopter. Man, it really does change the scene a lot though when there's all color the whole time. Okay, yes, I'm happy with that. It's not exactly what I was hoping for, but there's a point where you just got to go, this is good enough, let's move on. It's also, the tutorial too doesn't hinge on my recolorizing of this to look perfect. The tutorial doesn't need that at all. So we're going to actually just render to new track. Render to new track. we're going to use this ProRes 222. So I'm using that to keep it small. Like I said in my ProRes video, yes, it does cut the color information a little bit. However, it's so like, yes, if I was delivering this to a client, I would do it higher up. But you guys, by the time it gets crushed again and put on the internet for the final thing, there's just not going to be a difference. Okay, so color, helicopter. Okay, WandaVision, recolor with helicopter, and then render. Here we go. So now a great time to ask questions because we're going to be watching this render box for a minute. I love how fast it renders the new ProRes, though. ProRes is just like, we needed this. We needed this so bad. I'm using it all the time since yesterday, but I've been using it all day today. Whoa! No, it popped in. I hope I didn't hurt your guys' ears. That looks really good for the most part, but... Okay, like I said, we're gonna be fixing this still, but there is a mistake. Let's find it. Let's move this over here on this new track here. So watching through it. So yeah, some colorization issues. See where her face kind of flashes to black and white there. That's just the limitation of this thing being originally in black and white and the algorithm trying to color it back. But a lot of this we can fix. So that helicopter looks pretty good. It has a little bit of a masking problem in one of the frames there. But well, I think we're still good. Okay, so this shot, yeah, see the color pops in. So I didn't do that enough. How many times, I can't tell you how many times I've uploaded a video to YouTube and found something dumb like that. And I'm like, hey, everybody, I'm the guy who knows how to do this thing. And then I find out that I didn't even do it right for the tutorial. Okay, that was just, okay, so this should fix it. Yeah, it fixes it. Now the colors are all wonky from the colorization effect on that, but we can fix it some. I think we can do, I'm not going to be able to make this thing perfect, but I think we can still do some fixing on it. But getting the red back in that helicopter, that is a win. That is a big, big win. Okay, so now render as, okay, WandaVision color with helicopter 2. Yeah, I'm trying to get the colorization fixed. What do I do for a living? Right now, it's mostly YouTube. So, I'm not like a YouTuber, secure in my career YouTuber. I will be honest about that. But right now, I'm doing freelancing and stuff, and my wife and I, we're just trying this because the more effort I put into it, the more growth is happening. And so long term, it seems like a good strategy. So we do what we can short term to do different things to get by, but we're all good. But every bit you do to support helps. But yeah, so what I did for a living is I was in IT for 5 years, and before that I got a degree in video production technology, which is why I do freelancing and stuff now, and do YouTube tutorials, because I have been doing freelancing and videos and everything since high school. Not freelancing exactly, but I've been making videos since high school, and so that was a big part of my life. And so I went to got a degree in video production technology, and then because of that, I ended up learning how to build my own computer and do a lot of troubleshooting. So then a friend of mine taught me some more about it, and then I ended up getting a certification, like an A+ certification in IT. And then while I was in IT, I got my Net Plus certification. So while I was in IT, though, I worked for a school system, and they had me they knew I had a video degree, and that was one of the things when they hired me. They kind of let me wear two hats a lot. So I did several video projects for them, some big, some small. while I was working IT too. But as I started doing Vegas tutorials and stuff, because I've been doing just ran like YouTube tech channel stuff and things on another channel for a while, I started doing some Vegas tutorials, and they started catching on, and I started being able to work with Magix, like Magix. I say Magix because Magix and Vegas, like they're two different companies. Vegas is owned by Magix. I work with Vegas and Magix together because they both work together to work with influencers and things. They call me an influencer. I don't know how influential I am, but I make tutorials. So yeah, so that's the long and the short of it. I really enjoyed doing this. It started growing more and more. So my wife and I were thinking about moving, and we decided that to be closer to her family. And when we were looking at me getting IT jobs down here, a lot of it would be like if I did a recruiter job, we'd had to have a big insurance shift for a long time. And I was like, well, that's the scariest thing about going alone. And so if we're going to have to do that anyway, let's try it. So we had a house sale and we moved, and there we're trying it. So it's still working so far. We're excited about that, and we're going to try and keep working. Oh man, look, you can see that was long explanation. I'm sorry. You can see some of the black and white on her face still. It's just so sad, so close. And part of that's because I said medium when I did the colorization effect, which I had pre-done already. And when I did that, it doesn't pixel perfect everything. Let's try that. Let's get a pixel perfect version of it again and see if that can fix some of our issues too. Okay, so this is where the shot starts. And have it end before that. Okay, so let's do another colorization. Then with some masking, I might be able to use some of the better shots from both, and we'll have the best of both worlds. So let's do it. Okay, I've never used colorization effect while live streaming though, so if everything crashes, we know why. Because colorization effect is rough on a CPU, and streaming is rough on a CPU, and editing is hard on CPUs anyway. So I'm triple. Is it triple entendre? I don't know what that means. So probably shouldn't say it. Triple. It's a triple danger. Is that what that means? It might be what that means. Do I think someone needs to have a video production degree to be successful in it? Actually, no, you do not. You need experience. Now, video production degree, that really threw some experience at me like crazy. It forced me to do a ton of stuff I would have never done on my own. It made me, I had to sit in a room with other professionals as they looked at what I did, and they told me that it was not good and why. So triple whammy, that's a good one. So I would say no, you do not need it. However, you do need experience. You need work with other professionals. You need to know what the industry talks about. You need to practice a ton. Practicing is probably the most important thing I've ever done for any of this stuff. But you need to get your name out there and things like that. There's all sorts of bits of advice, but as far as like just your skill set goes, you need to practice. That's the most important thing. And school, I went to a community college. Like, don't go to a big fancy art school. There's no reason to get $9 million in debt. Go somewhere, learn something. That's good. You don't have to necessarily pay people to do that. You can learn in internships. You can learn on your own. But if you're learning with other professionals, as long as you're learning, you're good, is what I would say. When my son gets to the point where he's got to choose college or whatever, what I probably will tell him is you don't necessarily need college as much as you need an education. So if college is a good route for you to get that education, do it, definitely. But don't be uneducated, but you don't necessarily have to go to college. I know tons of successful people. A lot of my professors never, when I say professor, a lot of my teachers in that school never went to college. They just did it for 30 years, and they knew their stuff. Doing it, practice, learning, talking with other professionals, reading about it. They read about it constantly. That's the kind of stuff that really teaches you. And college is just a way to force that to happen. Okay, so we're going to do the colorization effect again. That was a good question, though. So I'm not saying I'm not an anti-college guy at all, not at all. But I'm also not like a college is necessary kind of guy. I just know a lot of people who have both paths have worked out for a lot of different people, and it just depends on how hungry you are for knowledge. Okay, no, I'm jumping to the secondary color corrector. I need to go to colorization. Here we go. Boom, and that worked kind of quick. My computer likes me today. We're going to go with match input size precision. This is the hardest one for it because it's an algorithm, right? And it has to look at it. It goes, there's flowers, there's leaves. This is an odd perspective for a lot of those. There's a hand in there. There's a helicopter embedded in between it. And the computer has to look at that and go, I know what this is, and I know how to color it. And it really just has to guess. Do you see those ellipses right there? When you see that, Vegas is thinking. That means stop clicking everything. Let it think for a minute. Okay, that is beautiful and not at all what we need. Let's look at other shots here. It's going to be thinking a lot. So when we do this, this is good because if it gets some parts of it better than the medium colorization I did earlier, we can use masking to share the best of both worlds in the final product. So, wow. See, oh my gosh. Okay, when you do the match input size, it has trouble. Some parts of it are like just perfect. Like, look at that. Like right here, it's just like perfect. Like that looks like it was in color. And then it just misses so hard when you do that. When you need it to look at all the granular detail. So I don't know why. I don't know why it does that. Oh, that's right. It has more issue because this is the original with the color plane. I need to get the black and white version I made already. So here's the black and white version I made already. Now let's do the colorization effect. And that helps it a lot. When I cleaned out the remaining color in it, it really helps it a ton. Wow, that tree does a lot better this time. Some of her skin tone way worse. The greens are better there. That's still bad. The helicopter's still bad. That's scene still bad. That's better. That's worse. Weird. I gotta make some decisions here. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go to medium. If this is boring, I'm sorry. I only plan to hang out kind of thing. It's not like a lesson. I'm trying to make as much lessons as I can in the middle of it, but I'm inventing some of this stuff as I go. So, again, like weird because like this is it turns that tree purple when I do that every time. This is like perfect right here. This little pizza slice, just perfect, and then everything else is not. So there's a you can do gain upping and things like that. That's what I'm trying to do is get this one. Let's try high. If you go to college, how would you go forward after high school? If I had to go back and talk to myself now, everything's changing constantly, so my advice might not work. Again, I don't know what country you're in either or anything. In America, in Tennessee, where I live, community college is free, so I would just go to community college. There's some good ones too that have some good video production degrees that give you a lot of hands-on experience. So one thing, internships would be another thing I'd do. Just a bunch of internships if I couldn't do that, because getting my hands on $20,000 cameras was super important for me. Getting my hands on $20,000 live streaming software, because you talk about live streaming, like touching and using decos and actual video switchers was super, super, super important. Now her face looks a lot better. her face looks a lot better. Okay, well that's where your main focus is going to be. So we're going to do that. I'm going to do some motion tracking, and we're going to like just cut a hole and put the better color on her face over the better color of everything else. I have decided. We're going to up the gain. Let's see what happens there. Let's let it think. So yeah, anything to get your hands on equipment and talking to professionals. Like those practice other professionals telling me other professionals talking to me and teaching me, learning, picking their brains, and if you can get those things, that's what you need. Maybe just a little bit. Fun fact, everything I'm doing right now is unnecessary as far as like the tutorial goes. I was originally just going to film myself with like an Apple and do the tutorial, be like, hey, you know how that scene did this? You can do the same kind of thing. But to me, it was just so much less fun not recreating the scene. And I was like, well, why don't I just recolorize it? And then I was like, well, why don't I just recolorize it good? So here we are. Hey, thank you. Yeah, I think I've been using it since like 2000, 2008, 2007, 2008. I think 2007, but at least 2008. So yes, we are both oldies on that. I really appreciate that. But yeah, it is an awesome software, and it's only gotten more awesome. This is just cool. If you would have told me that I could just colorize black and white footage with a click of a button years ago, I would have been like, what are you talking about? That looks so good. Her face. If you just look at her face, it looks so good. So let's check some other areas here, and then I'm going to render it. So if you're using a colorization effect, that's what you need to do is go for what gives you the best bit. So yeah, we're not worried about any of those bits here. Don't worry about that because I'm only going to be bringing in her face, not and some of her hair, not the corners. It has a lot of trouble with corners. So, oh my gosh, those flowers look really good in this version. And the brick looks really good. But her feet look green. It's interesting to see how this thing always works. That looks almost really good, but the bottom of that bush shouldn't be purple. This still looks like garbage. So I have a plan. I have a plan for this scene. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to render this out. This is going to take a second, but we're going to file, render as, and we're going to do color high, overlay. And we're going to take some of the prettier parts of this and we're going to cut them over. When I say cut them, this is a lot simpler masking with some fuzz. We're going to cut the prettier colors over some of the less prettier colors and get a better overall product. Hey, thank you, David, for joining us. No apologies for leaving. I have no idea how long I'm going to stream either. I'm just was working on random stuff, so I figured I'd pop up. So thank you for popping in and hanging out. Thank you, everybody who's watching. I'm just impressed and surprised that it's even getting anybody's even able to join me. Like I said, I've done this years ago in the past, not years ago, like a year ago in the past, and no one. I just talked to no one for an hour. So thank you for coming. And I might do this again in the future. Definitely for patrons. For patrons, I was thinking maybe this weekend or this Friday. But I need to talk to you guys about that. But I'll be doing live streams again too. Patron live streams are more focused. I have like a looser lesson plan for a broader topic where we kind of cover weird amounts of things, the weird topics in a long way. If I ever do this, it's going to be random for non-patrons, and it's going to be, I have no idea how long I'm ever going to do it, and it's going to be if I got like a good afternoon for streaming mixed with like some stuff I can do that would be interesting to watch, because me cutting a tutorial is usually not very interesting, I would think. So yeah, well, I might do this again in the future, especially since people joined in. So let me know if you've got any suggestions too. 17 likes, man, I'm just shocked. I'm just thankful that you guys even popped in. Oosh. Yeah, I'm asking a lot of it right now. I'm saying, hey, finalize that color effect, render it to ProRes while live streaming. Let's see how happy this is. OBS is using 10% of my needed stuff. Microsoft's running all sorts of garbage it doesn't need to be running. Fun fact. I used to run, when I was in IT, I used to run no Explorer. I just ran command prompt, and I launched softwares from command prompt. That was great. I highly recommend it if you are ready to do that. Vegas ran better than ever before when it didn't have to compete with Explorer on looking stuff up and things. It was just amazing. The only reason I don't go back to that is because really you guys are the only reason I don't go back to that, because I had issues when I was in IT and I did that. Whenever anybody had to share my computer, or this guy remoted in trying to show us how to, funny enough, he remoted in showing us how to remote package Adobe packages so we could like remote install them on a computer lab. And he remoted in, and he was just thrown by the fact that my computer did not have any like GUI. It just was just command prompt, and he was just really. It's not as impressive as it sounds if you saw what it really was. But he was just really thrown. And then anytime someone sat at my computer, they always got like upset or confused on how to do anything. So it was just. And if I do tutorials, everyone's just going to be confused. Their first question is, "How come? Are you running Linux?" Like, they're not going to understand. So I don't do it anymore. However, I miss it because, man, if you want Windows to just run beautifully, then you just need it to not be running Explorer. That's really the biggest thing. Oh, thanks for the subscribe. Bye, Anthony. Thanks for joining in, and have fun in Poland. We'll see you at the Patreon stream, which we'll get scheduled. And yeah, so my PC specs, I actually have a whole video about it. And it's listed in every single description ever on every video except this one, funny enough. But it's on my other channel, which I do a bunch of other stuff on. It's not my primary channel though. This is my primary channel. That channel is a channel I run with a friend named Steven, and it used to be a tech channel. Now we're doing more video game type stuff, but it's nowhere near as it has technically more subscribers, but success wise, like, it is nowhere near the success of this channel. So it's definitely the side project channel. But there I broke down. If I do that in the future, I'm going to do it on this channel. But there I broke down my computer specs. It's just a Ryzen 5 1600 with an RX 480, 8 gigs of RAM. And the reason it's going so slow, it's actually not as bad as it looks. It's finalizing the color. And so when you render with the colorization effect, it just takes all the renders longer. I can render faster than real time when I'm just rendering ProRes to ProRes or MP4 to ProRes or something to MP4. I usually render faster than real time. How fast depends on the codec and stuff and how many effects are on it. But this colorization effect, it really is intense on how much it needs to think as it works. So it'll be interesting to see how I can stitch these together. That's a good word for it, stitching. Oh, no, not a gaming channel. We make video games and talk about making video games. I'm not very good at it, though. I can make video games, but I'm not like a professional at it. Definitely my side. This is my thing. That's my side thing. So it took a long time to get to the point where I could even render something out that played. No, well, one's about making it, and one's about playing them. So I don't really play them on them. I make them and talk about making them. But maybe, I don't know, maybe they're the same thing. Oh, let's see your specs. Sorry. 1650 i5. Yeah, that's roughly those are roughly the same specs as mine, but Ryzen is better at multitasking, and that's the difference. So your Intel and stuff is just lame on that regard, and I'm sorry. But if you had a Ryzen, with roughly the same power, it probably wouldn't crash. Because I have 6 cores, 12 threads, and it's just good at not dropping the ball when it's doing something this hard. Um, but so I highly recommend Ryzen, highly. Now GTX is the better um, brand when it comes to graphics cards, but it's not GTX. Nvidia. I'm sorry, I'm getting tired. Nvidia's the better brand when it comes to graphics card, but it's not. With Vegas supports AMD stuff pretty well, so it's so much cheaper. I usually just end up going AMD, but I can understand why you would pick Nvidia over AMD. Yeah, it takes a while to build the computer you want to build. My computer, when I was 15, I didn't have my own computer. I was editing on a, can't forget the processor, 2 gigs of RAM, and mine was a media computer. Our family had a media computer, and it had an extra gig of RAM compared to the 1 gig of RAM that most computers had. So when I started editing with Vegas, that's what I was editing on, was 2 gigs of RAM, and it wasn't high def footage though. That really saved it. But when we started trying to use high def footage, it just crawled. We ended up having my friend Steven, we actually went over to his house to edit every time because he had a big gaming computer. And this is what first started getting me into building computers, was actually needing a computer that could edit high def video. That was my first problem in life. So you'll get there because things are just so cheap now, and you've already got a very good computer. That's a very good computer. But yeah, when I was 15, high def was just becoming a thing you could get your hands on, and we were like instantly crashing our computers the second we tried to even load a video, and we were like, this ain't gonna work. I'm gonna chit chat for a bit longer, but I don't think I'm gonna make it to the end of this render here. But you guys are still hanging out, so if you got any questions and stuff, we'll chit chat for another few minutes, and then I'm gonna be done. Yeah, I think a lot of people started with a Vegas. So I actually bought my first copy of Vegas, and I've been trying to buy Vegas forever until I was waiting to buy Vegas Pro because I was using Movie Studios until I hit. I got enough support where I was actually given Vegas Pro from Magic. So I feel your pain. That's why I love Movie Studio so much, because it makes it affordable. Movie Studio gives you so much power, because I was comparing Movie Studio to Avid in school and Premiere that I was using with other people when I worked with them in Final Cut, and it was just as good. And I paid $30 for my first copy on a Black Friday sale, and then I paid $90 on another sale, no, $60 on another sale, on another Black Friday sale, to get like version 13, and then I started working with Magics after that. But it's worth Movie Studios, man. That's where it's at. That's how. That's what makes it affordable. That's what gives you so much of the power for so small of a price. That's why I still try to keep doing specific Movie Studio tutorials, because everybody feels like they need Vegas Pro, and the reality is, what I'm doing today, yes, you 100% need Vegas Pro to colorize footage like I'm doing today. That frame looks almost really good except for the corners. Just gonna say that real quick, but still, Movie Studio Platinum just gives you so much, and you can afford it on so much less of a budget. Yeah, the monthly plan is a great thing. Like I was saying earlier, $24 a month. I think, I don't quote me on the prices. Like I said, I don't really work for them, so I don't like just know what is going on all the time, like deals and sales and stuff. I try to keep everything as updated as I can on my website and stuff. But last time I checked, it was like $24 to get Vegas Post, all of Vegas Post monthly. That really just opens the door, making a subscription service. I think that might have been a sale though, but Photoshop itself is $26 a month just to get Photoshop alone, and you could get like all of their software for almost for like less than that. Oh, $15 a month. Yeah, and crazy way cheaper than Premiere. Crazy way cheaper. And you're getting all of Vegas Pro. So not even just outright buying Movie Platinum. You're getting all of Pro for something that's just stupid cheap compared to what the other ones are. So yeah, no, you're doing that's the right move. 22 euros. Yeah, that's about $24. Yeah, canceling After Effects, that's also a good move, I think. So I used After Effects some in college. It was a lot to learn when I wasn't using it on a regular basis. So I also used it some when I worked at the school. I had a lot of access to Adobe software, and I used it some then too. But really, Vegas Effects, though, that's I'm really enjoying learning and starting to teach more and more Vegas Effects stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Well, guys, any other questions? This is time to hit me with questions. I even got Vegas Image open. This is how I made the thumbnail. We can talk about that real quick before I go, because I don't think we're gonna make it to the end. So this is my uncleaned up colorized footage. I wanted to showcase some of that stark red, but still show the black and white to color in this thumbnail for this. So I used a gradient mask, and that thing's pretty cool because you can just, make it slowly transition, make it stark. I want it to be stark to be easy to see, and I want it to be on her face too, so because the face is where you look first. And then I just added a Vegas image up there with a shadow, and that's how I made the thumbnail. Apparently it worked. People came and joined me. I'm pretty stocked still. So yeah, any more questions or anything? Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, the 3D camera tracking, and I think it'll get there. Especially the more people are using it, and the more people are buying it, the more resources they're going to have to finish out some of the corners on that kind of stuff. So the fact that you get so much power for so little money, to me, has always been, because there's always like a few top end things that are just going to need some more time to develop, and I think people starting to realize that and jumping on the Vegas wagon. I think they're all going to get, over time, I think they're going to look back and be like, that was a good choice, because I think they're working so hard to add so many features to it just year after year. So yeah, people using cracked software is a big thing. I can't say I haven't done it, and it's not something I've always tried to buy Vegas, and that's why I always use Movie Studio until I started working with them, because I wanted to support it. But friends of mine would just be like, "Hey, here's a thing," and you're just like, "Well, it's on my computer now." But yeah, definitely buying a software is the way to go. And that was when I was younger, I was like, "Oh, what's it's just a thing, it's just here." And then as I got older, I was like, "Oh no, I really ought to be buying this stuff. This is not something to not buy," because spending money on it is what actually helps the softwares improve and get better and stay alive and feed their developers and all sorts of cool stuff. So all for not pirating Vegas. But at the same time, though, there's a lot of people who would have never bought it if they hadn't had a chance to try it first. That's why I think Vegas having free trials is important. But like I said, I don't work for them. I don't know what their business model is and plan is for that exactly. But definitely buy the software if you haven't. But the fact that people are learning it and using it on pirated softwares isn't a whole, like, I'm not endorsing it at all, but I'm saying, if you're somebody who's learned it on a pirated software, then like when you buy it, the good news is because you learned it, because you're now part of that ecosystem, you can then join the I don't know what I'm saying. I don't mean to just get on a big rabbit trail about that stuff. It's good to buy it. So if you can and when you can, do it. But I'm glad to have everybody here who's here, learning and helping improve the ecosystem. I actually was scared when Magix bought it. I was like, uh-oh, are they going to part this thing out for patents and stuff? Like, I didn't know what they were going to do. I just was reading news stories about it. And then I reached out, and they were like, no, we're not. Magix told me, they're like, we're all in on the Vegas thing. Like, we want Vegas to be amazing, and put all of our resources towards that. So they were... that's what they let me know, and I have seen that in years since. Everybody's I think everybody's starting to see it now. At first there was kind of a big backlash because they didn't know who they were, and they're like, oh, it still needs this, it still needs this, it still needs this. But they started spending, and Vegas as a company, Vegas hasn't changed. It's the same company making it under Sony and under Magix. But I feel like Magix, I don't know this for a fact, I just feel like Magix, from communicating with both sides of the aisle on that, I feel like they're both really on the same page for what they want from Vegas. And since Sony was dropped them pretty much to make a whole nother video editing software that I don't think is any good now. Since Sony did that, I feel like Sony wasn't as it wasn't as pushing the software as much as they could have, since they knew they were jumping to another one. So I feel like Magix is really good about that, really good about Vegas and Magix together. Are just, they're both, their heads are on they're both looking down the path, hoping that Vegas will be I think it is one of the greats currently, but I think it's just the unknown option right now. It got kind of buried during some of those transition years, and I think it's unburying itself. It's rearing its head again, and everybody's saying, wait a second, Vegas, I remember that. Is it still around? And it's, oh wow, it's pretty good too, huh? And then I feel like people are jumping more and more back on that bandwagon. Man, that shot, like, so many frames in the frame, like some of it looks just perfectly colorized, and other of it is just like, what happened there? But I think we can work with that when it's done. I don't know much about people reviewing Vegas on Steam. I actually don't have Vegas on Steam. I'm a big Steam user, but I don't have Wallpaper Engine's the only not game I have on Steam, so I don't know much about having software on Steam. Midi Control, I remember your question about Midi controllers. This is a good one. Yeah, so excuse me, I didn't mean to burp. I would like to do a tutorial on that. And I know it has some MIDI capabilities, but what I need to do is it's on my table. So essentially, I have lots and lots of tutorial ideas that are given to me, and a lot of them are really good, and a lot of them aren't as fun, but like, oh, I can see why it needs to be done eventually. And then some of them are really, really good ideas where I'm like immediately thinking like, oh my gosh, that tutorial needs to be out tomorrow because it's so important, and I don't know how no one's talking about that. And things, I jump all over the place with tutorials. I try to do everything everybody asks over time, but I really have like a huge backlog, like pages and pages of written down ideas, a lot of them from people, of stuff to do. And what I think that one, it's on the list, and it is something I think would be cool, and something I think a lot of people would like to know is possible. But it's going to take me some extra time because I don't have any MIDI controllers, so I'll have to like kind of see if I can get my hands on them, and then reach out and see if so. Vegas doesn't actually give me much to go off of when they're just kind of have at it. Is they're usually they respond when I talk to them. They talk to me, and really they will to you too. If you tweet at them, they're usually pretty good about tweeting back to people on stuff. They're very communicative, which is one of the things I like. But they don't sit down and give me tutorials any different than you guys. Like most of the tutorials, that things that I've learned directly from Vegas have been things that are just available on their YouTube channel. So I think for that one though, because it's an older one, I might reach out, like an older feature. I might reach out and kind of see what their thoughts are on it and go from there. But so eventually, I hope so, but I might probably not as soon as you want. All right, see you later, Ocal, and see. Yeah, and I agree. As far Zanique, I think is how to pronounce your name. I agree that Vegas Post probably has some of the most, like, it's just got it's like 90. It's hard to give it a percentage. It's hard to do that because some of it's not a one-to-one comparison on how it all works and the features and things. But if you look at it in a bird's eye view, I would say at least 80, but probably as much as 90 to 95% of it you get in the Vegas suite, like as far as things do. And you start getting to niche things like, well, this is a weird niche thing that Adobe has, and some, there's some niche things that Vegas has that other people don't have. Like Vegas can colorize things, and that's just not something other people have. So you can get like everything you're expected to be able to do until you start getting to the niche. It is doable for a software that's just way cheaper and, to me, so much easier to use. I've used them all, and I just really enjoy you. I've always enjoyed working with Vegas. I've always been stubborn about leaving the Vegas environment, so I never did. Yeah, I can see with music stuff, knobs and sliders are a much bigger thing, and MIDI controllers are very big in the music world still. So that I can see why you are interested in that. Yeah, crazy, and it's yeah, the pricing difference is just astronomical. Um, yeah, any more questions? I'm probably about to head out. It's been a couple hours. I'm really just and super thankful that everybody jumped on and hung out and has been liking and watching and asking awesome questions. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm getting a phone call. I'm gonna head out, guys. But thanks again for joining. I'm gonna end the stream, but I'll see you guys. We'll do this again sometime.